Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The government is planning to borrow 60 billion pesos from the domestic market this month. The government plans to borrow 20 billion pesos via treasury bills and 40 billion pesos via treasury bonds for the month of December. The 60 billion peso total is much lower than the 225 billion peso program in November. It's also 60% lower than what was actually raised last month. Short-dated T-bills will be offered at 3 billion pesos each for 91 and 182-day tenors, and another 4 billion pesos for the 364-day. On the other hand, the Treasury plans to raise 20 billion pesos each in T-bonds, which will have maturities of 10 and 15 years. China Bank Chief Economist Dominic Velasquez says the lower borrowing is due to the shrinking budget gap. Velasquez says the smaller borrowing via T-bills should boost the market rally and aid the decline in interest rates. Meanwhile, in the international debt market, the Philippines secures $1 billion through the maiden issuance of sukuk bonds. That's equivalent to about 55.4 billion pesos raised in its first time tapping the Islamic financial market. The Philippines dropped 3 spots in the Global Digital Competitiveness Index published by the World Competitiveness Center. The country fell to 59th out of 64 economies, scoring 48.31 in IMD's 2023 World Digital Competitiveness Ranking. This was the Philippines' lowest ranking since the index started in 2017. It was also among the lowest scorers at 13th place in the Asia-Pacific region, just ahead of Mongolia. The index measures a country's capacity to adopt and explore new digital technologies to transform government practices, business models, and society in general. The Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, or PDAX, says the SEC's recent blocking of crypto exchange Binance is a sign that the country's crypto industry is maturing. With the ban against Binance in place, the public will no longer be able to access its website and applications while inside the country. But in our interview here on One News Now, PDAX CEO Nigel Gaba said that the move actually indicates a timely and logical regulatory response. Gaba also highlighted a broader trend of maturation within the crypto industry, emphasizing the increasing presence of professional fund managers and institutional interest.
But I think more broadly, what this really signals is that crypto as an industry is maturing. We're getting more professional fund managers in the ecosystem. We're getting more institutions interested in crypto. And this is really just that ongoing trend of crypto becoming much more regulated, much more institutional, and much safer for consumers.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. We have been reporting that the government and communist rebels has agreed to resume peace talks in a bid to end a half-century-long armed struggle. Now, what will it mean for the Philippine economy if peace talks hold up this time? We'll ask that question to Emmanuel Leyco, Chief Economist of Credit Rating and Investment Services Philippines. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Diego, and thank you for having me in a very important discussion of the day,
That's right.
particularly for the economy.
That's true, sir. Let's get right to it. So, sir, based on your analysis, what are the potential economic impacts of the prospective peace talks between the NDF and the Philippine government, if this time it holds up?
I hope so. I think if indications coming from the European Union and Norway can be used, they are welcoming these peace talks very positively. Also, I understand that the Philippine government is labeling this process not as a resumption, but not a restart or a resumption, but it's going to be a totally brand new peace process. And I think that will send a very positive signal to the stakeholders.
Yes.
For the government is saying that we are ready and we will start a new peace process. And NDF likewise is saying that they are ready to resume or restart the peace negotiations.
With this different approach that the government will have towards peace talks, now, will this have any positive impact on trade or investor sentiment?
Definitely. In fact, if we are going to look at its impact in the Philippines, particularly in the countryside, our underdevelopment is focused on areas where there is active insurgency. And I think insurgency, rebellion, or even protests are coming from areas where the government is not actually able to present or accommodate the economic needs of the people in those areas. That's why this is actually more of an economic struggle than a political struggle, I believe. The people are so poor that they don't see any positive outlook when they're looking at their economic situation. So they resort to rebellion, they resort to having their own economic activities in those areas. And that's terrible because nationwide, we need to have a national balanced economic development. And the rural areas, the underdeveloped areas should be part of the national development focus of the Philippine government.
Yes, yes, I'm sorry, sir. With regards to that, related to what you have been saying, the NDFE also has said that solving socioeconomic problems are the key to addressing root causes of armed struggle. Now, is the country at least nearing this? What specific economic problems need to be addressed, and what should be prioritized this time by the admin that should work in the long term?
I think that is what is very new today, that there is a recognition on both sides that the economic problems are the root causes of this rebellion. So the recognition by both sides, I think, is very positive in this process. Now, how can they now address the economic development in those areas? I think should be a common goal of both the government and the NDF. They can come up with a common program, a joint economic program. Without arms, I think that is the major negative rejection, that is being rejected by quarters, not only in the country but also overseas. Once they see armed conflict, investments are not coming in.
That's right.
So if this will be resolved by way of a common understanding of the problems and joint programs. Remember, I think nobody should ask for surrender of one side to the other. The government is not surrendering, the NDF is not surrendering, but there is now a common recognition, acknowledgement that the problem is focused on the economic opportunities, economic activities, economic development of those areas.
We were talking about, so we're talking about that the CPP and the government have to strike a balance. Now, how about the socialist vision of the CPP? What do we make of this? I mean, what economic compromises or at least reforms will the government have to make to ensure that lasting peace between communist rebels and the government is sustained in the long run?
I think when I had the opportunity to look at the proposal by the NDF on the I think what they call the CASER or comprehensive economic reforms, I think there can be some opportunities there for both the government and the NDF to explore. And that will be based on economic programs where opportunities will be present on for the NDF and their stakeholders can take part in the economic development. I think if we look at the focus of what the NDF is proposing to make or prioritize agrarian or agricultural development, I don't think there is any problem with that. There is any conflict. I think our experience in the last few years have shown that food production is a major concern for the country. And therefore, if we take seriously the agrarian reform, I think there will be a lot of opportunities for both the government and the NDF to come to terms with. And then the industrial development, I think, is very important.
Yes.
And I think in terms of the recognition, acknowledgement by both the government and the NDF, that there should be a strong agricultural foundation for any industrial development to happen. I think that is a good start.
Yes.
But of course, the nitty-gritty, the details will have to be worked out, and I think that will be the source of challenges for both the government and the NDF.
Now, lastly, sir, we've been talking about that this is not a resumption of the peace talks, but rather another set of peace talks. In other words, the government and the Communist Party is doing this from a different perspective, with different points to be tackled. Now, what is your best case scenario given all these circumstances for this outcome? What is the best possible outcome from these peace talks?
I think a common agenda would be the best outcome. The common agenda for agrarian or agricultural development of the country's economy, I think, will be a good start. And then the vision for an industrially developed Philippines would be key to the progress of this peace process. I think both parties will have to address or acknowledge that the agricultural backwardness of the country is a major problem for the country's development. And then if we are able to push forward a national development that will focus on industrial development for the country, that will make us self-sufficient and become an active participant in the economic trade, economic relations with different countries. You know, right now, we have been seen as an assembly plant of many countries.
That's right.
We are the backroom or back office operations. We are the voice behind the BPOs. And there's not much value addition happening in that kind of process. So if we are agreeable that the country's agricultural development, the agricultural foundation of the country's development will have to be prioritized and the industrial development to be pushed forward, I think that will be great not only for the GRP, not only for the NDF, but for the country as a whole.
That's right. Now, sir, let's move on to another topic. Let's move over to geopolitical tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Now, how will these affect our economic relations with China, and what's the impact of these in the broader PH economy scenario?
I think given the role that the Chinese economy plays in the Philippine economy, it will be very, very difficult to extricate the country's economy, from the Chinese economy, or China from the Philippine economy.
Okay.
China is a major player. They import a big chunk of our products.
That's right.
And we also import from them a lot. I think the groceries, factories, our gadgets will be good indicators how much trade we do with the Chinese economy. So I don't think we can extricate one from the other. And will the current tension affect that? I don't believe so. I think despite the calls for ban China or boycott Chinese products, we are so dependent on imports from China that I don't think that is possible.
Thank you very much for your insights and for joining us today, Sir Emmanuel Leyco, Chief Economist of Credit Rating and Investment Services Philippines.
Thank you very much, Diego, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now let's take a quick look at the top corporate headlines we're watching. Meralco has started seeking bidders for the 1,200 megawatt base load capacity to ensure continued supply of electricity for its customers. The company is calling on interested power generation companies to participate in a competitive selection process. The deadline to submit an expression of interest is on December 11. Metro Pacific Tollways is deferring its initial public offering to 2025 amid plans to form a joint venture with San Miguel Corporation. The Metro Pacific Investments Corporation earlier said it planned to list its tollways unit on the stock market after the parent firm's delisting in October. San Miguel Corporation's Ramon Ang is included in Forbes Asia's 2023 list of Heroes of Philanthropy, the only Filipino to make it to the list this year. On its citation, Forbes Asia recognized Ang's generosity from building schools in Manila to responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and to helping clean up rivers in the capital. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.